one of those times. I wish the faces of the Pharisees could have been captured on film. I imagine some raised eyebrows, some dumbfounded looks, probably quite similar to those when I shared my childhood dreams. So, what is Jesus' answer saying? Is he making a modern case for separation of church and state? Or is Jesus saying that we owe nothing to false gods like Caesar and shall reserve all things for God? We don't know. I don't know. But I have this feeling that Jesus is trying to make clear that we cannot ignore the political and economic realms in our lives. These are things that surround us and in some ways claim part of our identity. Jesus wants us to think. He wants us to think and wonder the great questions like, what causes do I support? Who do I vote for? How will I dedicate my time? How can I use my gifts? And even the question, what do I want to be when I grow up? I could give answers to all these questions, even if it is as complex and simple as, I don't know. What causes do I support? I don't know. How will I dedicate my time? I don't know. What do I want to be when I grow up? I don't know. There is always an answer to the question. But what does our identity in Christ, our faith in the triune God, and the love of community play into those answers? This is a part that makes us think. We begin to wonder, what does being a Christian mean in all of these questions? And maybe our answer is very simple. We don't know, but that does not mean the conversation ends there. We begin to answer these questions together in community. We wonder together, we question together, we remind one another to take on the imagination of a child. We need to step in the realm of the impossibility and just sit and ask, what if? In Paul's letter to the Thessalonians this morning, we hear how the first people received the word. The story involves Paul coming to Thessalonica and proclaimed the word to the people. The people heard what Paul had to say, and some were filled with joy. And like a fictional fairy tale, the letter ends with they lived happily ever after. Yet, just like us, there had to be this period where questions were asked. They needed to wrestle with who is this character of Jesus? You mean I have to give up my identity for someone else? There had to be something more. As we gather today as a community, everyone has the opportunity to hear the word proclaimed. Just like the Thessalonians, it is not always they lived happily ever after. We too need the chance to wrestle and figure it all out. We get asked questions and have to answer, I don't know. But what comes after that? Today we celebrate our children. There's something extremely special about that question. They may be able to tell the elaborate dreams of what it means when they grow up. They may be able to share a story from earlier this week, but they also may not be able to answer a question with, I don't know. And there's something beautiful and unique about a child's I don't know, because I think it goes a little more like this. I don't know, but teach me. Yet the word teach also has some space for interpretation. There's an old lecture-based style of teaching where a teacher or professor comes up and teaches and there ends. There's not a period for questions or conversation. Both parties go their separate ways. That's not the kind of teaching we need to see. It's a teaching that allows for mutual curiosity with one's faith, especially a child's. It's that living into their dream, instead of discouraging for an answer or solution that seems more plausible or socially acceptable. It's an answer that is magical, like Corey's father when he said he wanted to be everything in the world. It is so easy for us to think of children with the social norms placed on them. Things like rowdy, young, misbehaved, and even smelly are pretty common. We think of them different than us. We think of ourselves as the ones with knowledge, with the answers to the questions. But we all have the places in the lives where the answer to the question is, I don't know. But do we neglect the childlike curiosity to know more? May we continue to live into the community with questions of doubt and being not so sure. May we continue to wrestle with our Christian identity like the Thessalonians or the Pharisees. And through this, may we continue to ask questions and know it is okay to say, I don't know, or dream as big as we can. For we have a God that has not limited those dreams to what is practical or safe, but she has given us the gifts to look further and dream bigger. And some of those greatest gifts are the children who allow us to live into the imagination we thought we had left behind. Amen.
Amen.